I think it's time to tell you which of the tools, of all the different tools I showcased so far in those two videos, that I've actually adopted and now use regularly. Hey there, it's Grace. Welcome back. Welcome if you are new. Thank you for being here. So you might have already seen the videos I've recorded on some of the different and what I like to call quirky tools we in the pen community use to swatch inks. I'll tell you what, some of those tools y'all use, what? Kind of surprised me. A bread clip? A bread clip? Well, okie dokie then. If you haven't yet, it might make sense to go and watch the other two videos I recorded first. The links are obviously down there. Of course, I set you up. They're all there. So the question is, which of the tools did I showcase in those first two videos? See, I remembered. First two videos, tools videos, did I adopt? Which of them became my regular go-tos? The ones I reach for automatically. Let's go to the overhead and find out. Also, don't forget, I do have one more, I know, right? One more quirky swatch tools video coming out. Seems weird. Cross your fingers I get to it in the next few weeks, but time's ticking. Things are getting busier and busier around here. Okay, come on. Let's just go. Let's go to the overhead. Come on. The other day, I visited my local pen shop with a pen friend. We went for a coffee and then we walked to our pen shop. Hey, Vanessa. I went for something else. I got that something else, but I also came home with just one new ink. That's the way of things, right? That is the way of things. I thought that what I would do, I should tell you what the ink is first. The ink is Wearingool Path. And I saw someone swatch this and I thought, you probably need another olive green ink. Yeah, that sounds about right. Anyway, the ink is called Wearingool Path. Look at that freaking shimmer! Stop me in my tracks, why don't you? Anyway, this is the ink. This is the gorgeousness of that ink. Olive green. I'm out of my blue phase. I seem to be in an olive green phase, not necessarily a green phase, but an olive green phase. Anyway, so I only got one ink, so I thought what I'd do is I'd swatch the ink, but I'm gonna do two different things with this one ink. Mainly because in my recent ink report in October, I mentioned quite a few times, it's all the paper. It's all in the paper. It's about the paper. And I was really disappointed at how some of the inks turned out. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So for this video, I'm going to swatch this one ink, but I'm going to use my favorite swatch tools. I thought it would be a good way to see of those inks of those two videos I did. Let's just see what are my favorite ways to swatch. What do I use regularly? But the thing is, what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to swatch using different papers this one ink. So this is, you could call this another twofer videos. I'll swatch each paper separately, and I've actually laid down strips of the papers. Okay, something happened. I swatched previously. I swatched all of the actual tools I was using, or the tools for this video, in my notebook, and here's where they all are. So they're all swatched, all the tools. But I swatched between swatching and doing the final thoughts, the assessing of the paper and all of that. When I went to record those final thoughts, I really couldn't remember anything of how the paper reacted. So what I've decided to do is I decided to re-record the swatching. I have all the paper labeled here. I have the new Tomoe River paper, Midori, Maruman, Irreful, Cosmo Airlight, and Rhodia. And I just want to see how this one ink actually falls on the paper. So about the tools I'll be using, I'll go through each one of them individually when I do the swatching, and you won't notice it, but I will be taking notes as I record so that what happened last time does not happen this time. Let's get started. Let me come in just a tad so we can see these swatches, and I'll have to make sure I move this sheet up and up and up so we can see what's happening. First one up, open this up. First one up is my folded nib. I love this so much. I think this and one other are by far my favorite ways to get some swatching ink down. And let's see, I want to do, make sure I am not on this paper at all. I have a habit of not putting down the paper. Alrighty, let's do this. I don't like that. We're going to have to do something different because that noise is not going to work for me. Okay, let's see how that works. If that works a little bit better. Put this back in. And that first one, paper, is Tomoe River paper. There's Midori. I'm just gonna put another one down. I'm gonna have to constantly do that. So I staggered them like this so I can see the paper itself see the name of the paper rather, as I'm doing it. And I love the fact that you get to see lots of properties with this tool. Okay, the next tool, I originally had the Q-tip, the cotton swab, as one of my regulars. I rarely use that now. When I first began swatching inks, I used that all the time because I saw what everybody else was doing, and I used that all the time. But I used it only on my on these cards, the coloring cards. So all of this is swatched with Q-tips. I will continue to do that, but I'm not going to showcase it here because it's not a tool that I regularly use anymore when I'm swatching in my swatch notebook. I'm also thinking of changing the cards, making my own cards instead of using the coloring. The coloring is just so convenient though. And I know there are other cards out there that I can look at, and that's not for this video. Okay, next one up that I absolutely enjoy, that I happen to just come upon in my, let's see if I can find it. I have this. These were the nibs I use for mixed media, and I put them in here to save them. And I was going through them and I noticed I have these nibs, and I'm thinking, okay, what's this one? And this one is the round calligraphy nib. It's called B12. I don't know if it's a B1 or a B2, but or B1/2. I don't know what it is. Every time I see the name, it says B1/2. This is my second favorite way of laying down some color. And I was really intrigued by the nib. I don't remember using it for mixed media, but that's okay. Stuck it in this nib holder that I got, and The rest is history. Alrighty, let's do some of this. This one doesn't put down as much color as the, let's go over just a bit. This one doesn't put down as much color as the folded nib, but it still does a good job of putting down a swath of color. And it runs out pretty quickly, as you can see. But it's pretty awesome at getting down that color. So gorgeous, this ink. So dang gorgeous. Okay, so that is the calligraphy round nib. If you can see, there's a slit in the dot, this dot piece here, that the ink sits in, and that's why you get such good good swatches of color on it. All right, every time I'm just gonna shake it up every time because it just makes sense. Alrighty, next one up is one of my favorites that I use. It is I just shouldn't say it's a favorite. It is one of the ones that I go to more often now. I saw Julia here use the spoon to swatch, and I think this was the first video I did. Could be the second one, I don't know. The links to those two videos will be in the description. I loved using it so much. In the first video, I used a metal spoon, but I couldn't see what was underneath it. And the one thing this actually replaces, let me get it out, is I used to use this, an acrylic round, and this is what stampers use to put a clink stamp on it and stamp. And I thought this will be perfect to be able to see as I am swatching. I don't use this as much, mainly because I use this spoon, because I found this spoon on Amazon. If I find that link, I'll put the link in there so you can find it as well. But I love this, and I love that the long handle of the spoon, also that end too. And I'm going to get some. Before I do that, I'm sure it's all settled again. Yep, it's all settled. I'm gonna have to shake this up constantly. I apologize for that part, but hey, that's part of the whole process, right? You gotta shake your shimmers. You see how you can see how the ink is being spread under the spoon? That is so cool to me. I loved being able to do that. Okay, so there's the spoon, and I'm noticing a difference in the round calligraphy nib papers, but we'll get to all of that later. I'm gonna move this up so we stay in frame. And now, one of the things that I want to do writing as well. I want to showcase two tools that I use for writing. The first one is my Jinhao glass tip pen. This is Jinhao 82 glass tip pen. I love the broad or medium to broad nature of the writing, which is why I like this one. And then I'll show you a different one, another one that I have that kind of showcases the writing in a good way as well. So let's go there. I hope you'll see the difference between this, the writing I do with this, and the writing that I do with the second one I'll show you. Alrighty, that's the And I'll write these in a minute, and you'll see which ones are which ones they are, because I left space on the side for writing in the name. The next one, one of the things people ask me about, why do you use this one instead of the kakimori nib? And the last few times I used the kakimori nib, a blob of ink randomly dropped onto the paper when I did a letter stroke, and it kept happening, and I wasn't too happy about that. So I decided to retire my kakimori nib for now, and maybe pick it up at another time. But I was just getting tired of the blobs, and the glass tip pen Jinhao works beautifully, so I decided to just use that one. Alrighty, next one up is, and I found these earlier this year, loved, absolutely loved. I love how as it dries, the difference, and I'm noticing the difference, I'm taking the notes. I love how it dries, it's showing up differently on each of the papers. Alrighty, this one is my Pilot Uru Itsushi dip pen. This is the medium nib. And the reason I use both of these is because this is a thicker, slightly thicker stroke, and this is a very thin stroke. Not as thin as a fine. See how thin that stroke is? Compared to the Midori, compared to the Jinhao. For some reason, I cannot work and write at the same time. I have to figure out what I'm doing, and then I can talk. I don't know that you'll get to see much difference in how the tool reacts on the paper, but this video is also about my favorite swatching tools, and the ones I use and the ones I adopted. So it makes sense to have these in there. As I said, this video is a twofer. Definitely makes the twofer. I love the line variation that I get in these. I think of the papers, this one shows the line variation the best for Jinhao, and this is usually what I get for generally. This seems a bit thick on the paper, which is interesting. I use the word interesting way too much. My vocabulary needs to expand. That's what I'm saying. Alright, this next one is, I gotta do stuff. Oh, why are you doing that? Yeah, you didn't mess up. Alrighty, this next one is by far has become, with the folded nib, my absolute favorite way to swatch. And that is, because it will come as no surprise to you. You will not be surprised by this. The Baggy. The Baggy! I love the Baggy. I love how the abstract nature of the splotches. And the reason the abstract nature of the splotch really hits me is because when I was doing quilt arts, one of the things that I did, I made abstract art quilts. And I love the interplay of shapes in my quilts. So that's what this one is. I'm giving it a good shake because I'm gonna splatter, I think I'm gonna splatter 3 at a time. Maybe 2 at a time, maybe. Maybe I won't do that. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's still. Pick up some of that and bring it in here so we can really see how it goes. I can put this away for now and save this for this. Just so I make sure I get that shimmer in there, because I definitely want to see the different ways it shows up. tricky this thing I'm decided to do. This one was a bit dry. The Mmmmh is a bit dry. This Iroquois, as you notice, that's just a lot. Alrighty, and then one more I get to do. Leave it alone. Stop trying to play. Alrighty, I'm going to now, as they dry, start taking some notes, and I will be right back. Try and get all of them in the camera. Look at that. That's gorgeousness. Alrighty, let me go. Let me go. Alright, I've waited long enough for this to dry. There's a couple of them, like the spoon here. It's still not completely dry, but I've got to go ahead and get this video finished. So a couple of things I have noticed with the tools on the papers, but also the papers themselves. Like one of the things I noticed was the ink comes across, there's where the S should be, comes across much lighter than the other papers. It almost wants to be a different, to me, in person, it almost wants to be a different ink. Shimmer came across, which was kind of nice on the Mmmmh, but the ink definitely was lighter on this paper itself, Mmmmh. I was a little bit disappointed with the Rhodia paper. I'm not, what did I write? What I write rather. I'm surprised, that's what it is. I'm surprised how regular the swatches were on the Rhodia paper. I remember having to really push the ink to get the ink to go places with the Baggy swatch. And if you look, there's hardly any shimmer showing up, and I re-dipped the pen specifically for each one so I could get the shimmer. Hardly any shimmer shows up, and I don't know why this is taking so long to dry. I mean, literally, it's still wet, the clear spoon. What else did I notice? The folded nib, I think, was the best of all at showcasing the properties. Now the folded nib is all across the top, and I don't want to I can take these papers apart, but I need to know which name it is, and that's how I did it. I could have done it a different way. Anyway, the folded nib, I think, showcases the property best consistently. Let's put it that way, consistently. There's shimmer that shows up quite a lot on each swatch of the folded nib. The what was this? This is the calligraphy B nib. It does well. It does the job of getting ink down. That's this second row here. But for my preferences, I much prefer the folded nib. Folded nib puts so much ink down. I really love the fact that I get to put a lot of that ink down and see how it reacts on the paper. The one that I used Cosmo Air Light last year for my swatch notebook. I used Cosmo Air Light. I did use a Hobonichi as well, but that was mainly for journaling. But I did swatch in that as a reminder of what inks I was using for currently inks. I'm not too enamored with the Cosmo Air Light, how it's swatched. It was okay. I think my favorite of the papers was Iroquois, and then I'm trying to decide between Midori and Tomoe River paper, and I really want to go with Tomoe River paper. And it's interesting because I have for 2025 I have a planner notebook video coming out soon. You'll see. I'm not going to reveal what I'm going to use for my swatch notebook, but you'll see. and I've been gathering thoughts and writing and all sorts of stuff together for my EDCs for 2025. What changed, what remained the same. So that video is definitely coming up. But I know it makes me think about the change between 2023 paper, which was Cosmo Airlight, and this year's paper, the notebook I use for swatching inks all throughout the year, Midori, and the little bit I use, the Tomoe River paper. These are the three, this one, and this one, that I swatch mostly in for 2024, some of 2023. Also, the paper I use for my pips sheets, parent pen and ink pairing sheets that are available on my Ko-fi page for purchase. I love how it showed up on Aerofil. I didn't do much testing on which paper to use. I kind of just picked one and went with it. And I love how the ink showed up on the Aerofil a whole lot. Look at the shimmer. Look at the shading in there. Look at that. Even the spoon. The spoon was, oops. What are you doing? The spoon was very consistent on that Aerofil paper. Beautifully consistent. What else did I write? The writing did not show much shimmer. It showed up here in, let's see if I can get it. It showed up here in the Tomoe River paper. It showed up a little bit. I mean, you could see the whole shimmer here. A little bit on Midori, and then again on Aerofil. These two papers, again, really good. No, not much noticeable shimmer in the writing on these two papers. That's the Cosmo Airlight and the Rhody. Rhody, I must say, has, for this experiment only, I am a bit, dare I use the word? My kids always get upset with me when I use the word disappointed. I think I did it twice and I've never done it again. But I think I'm a bit disappointed with Rhody. Just a teeny tiny bit. Yeah. Anyway, the lightest ink, as I said, was the Maraman. That came, the ink really, I don't think the ink shined as bright as it could have, as you can see on all the other papers. This, the Aerofil is just really, just doing it for me, Okay, so the last bit of notes I want to tell about this is the best consistent shading tool, when I go with the tools, the best consistent shading tool was the folded nib. Each one of these, all across the board, had shading. Some, like this in the clear spoon, not so much. And then this one here with the Maraman, not so much. But you can see shading across each of the samples with the folded nib. The best shimmer tool, and get it in the light there. The best shimmer tool were two of my faves. This, the Baggy, woohoo, yay! And folded nib again. And when I say the best shimmer tool, it is the consistency of how the shimmer is laid down. Hardly any here, whole lot here and here, but across all the papers, the folded nib showed a lot of shimmer. The best, the fave character swatch, and I have to phrase it that way. I had to give it an award of sort. And I called it the favorite character swatch of the Baggies. I love the random nature of the blob swatchy thing going on with all of them. I love how that shows up. I'm forever enamored. The thing is, I've started doing that regularly. Look at that. I mean, what can I say? And this one was a bit much, so I had to cover it up. But look at those. I love the random nature of the Baggy swatch. I will continue to use that because I think it's a brilliant way to see the ink and see all its properties. What else did I have? The best performers I think overall are the folded nib and the Baggy. In terms of consistency of laying down the color, showing the properties, in this particular instance it is shimmer, and showcasing the ink basically. I mean, really showing up the ink, you get to see a whole, even in these swatches, look at the shading in there. You get to see the properties, and that's what I love about using the tools that I've chosen for swatching inks. Let's see, although I'm reading here now. That's true. Although I love the spoon, it's very inconsistent across all 7 papers. It's just not as I don't know, it's just not consistent across all 7 papers, which is okay. It doesn't, every tool does not have to do everything. That's why when I sit down to swatch, I know which one I'm going to use, which ones give me room to play, and that's how I did. I must say, for these, I found the sweetest spot with these 6 tools. The folded nib, this one, the folded nib, and then the calligraphy nib, which is so cool. I love that. The spoon, that, oh my gosh, love this. And then the pens, the 2 pens that I use to write with. And I usually use this to write with. This is the Pilot Uru Itsushi pen. I usually use this to write with when I don't have room. Say for instance, usually around these baggy swatches, because then it writes tiny, and the Jinhao 82 it's a bit heavier, as you can see. This would work around here just to take note of the name. Let me see if I can try to find an example. Here we go. See how it doesn't, it's small enough that you can read it, but it doesn't take away from the swatch there, and that's what I want. I gotta say, one of the things I love the marble. I won't say no to using the marble. I showcased that in the second Quirky Tools video. Yeah, I won't say no to the marble or any other quirky tool I come upon, even the bread clip. And speaking of which, the bread clip, which I showcased in the second video, someone mentioned, I think it was Wendy Sue, and if it was Wendy Sue, thank you. If it was someone else, I thank you too, but I think it was Wendy Sue. Anyway, to be able to hold the bread clip, they suggested using a hemostat, you know, the thing that clips, and it clips weirdly. Anyway, I actually have one. I used to make baskets, and you had to use a hemostat to make baskets. I just gotta find out where that box is in the garage, so yeah. Anyway, these 6 pens, these 6 tools are my favorite way to swatch. I reach for these 6 automatically, and that's usually why they're sitting in this pen tray. This is actually not a pen tray, this is a soap dish, just so you know. I tell you, we swipe things from everywhere to use in our pen hobby. So yeah, this is a soap dish. Unfortunately, it's not available anymore, which is so sad because I love this. Look at how cute that is. And it matches my, anyway, I'm going away. What is coming next? What's coming next is, I did get an ink calendar. Which one did I get? Which one did I get? That will be revealed later. You'll see. Did you indulge in the ink calendar? Did you get one for yourself? If you did, which one did you get? And did you happen to get both? I would like to know that information. Tell me what you think about these inks with these tools and on these papers. What's your favorite paper? Just tell me all the things. Just tell me all the things. I want to know all the things. Alrighty.